Welcome to The Middle, a podcast about that messy middle in between job loss and the comeback, told by people who've lived it. From CEOs to veterans, athletes to analysts, we talk to folks navigating the unexpected turns in their careers and what comes next when the plan falls apart. These honest conversations will move you, make you think, and maybe even inspire you to leap into something new. Because behind every career pivot is someone just trying to figure it all out.
I remember the first time I came to Portland. So me and my wife went to the beach. It's called Cannon Beach. It's very close to Portland.
Is it the Goonies Beach?
No, I haven't heard of it. It's Cannon Beach.
Okay.
And it's pretty close to us. It's like maybe an hour and 20 minutes of drive. So we went there with that in mind, that we were in Florida for like 5 years. And we thought the beach would be like that. So we had those flip-flops and everything. So we went there. And as soon as we opened the door, it was like, can we go back? It was like freezing.
Well, speaking of moves and transitions, you came to America from Iran, I think about a decade ago when we had chatted. What motivated that move? And what did those kind of early years in the U.S. feel like?
So I came to the United States in 2015. Back then in Iran, I was a chemistry teacher in high school. And I was like teaching for like 8 years. So at the same time, so going a little bit back, so I did a bachelor degree in chemistry. And then I did a master degree also in chemistry. But once I graduated from the bachelor, like that college, that university actually, I had to work for the Ministry of Education for 5 to 8 years. Mandatory. And they are going to send me, to the state, because the education is free, and then they will decide what you need to do. So, and I was like a full-time employee by the time I graduated. So they told me, you go to your state and we are going to send you to wherever we decide. And they sent me to a rural area. And it was like a remote rural area, and I was like teacher there. I was teaching both chemistry and mathematics, and I failed mathematics like twice. And I told them, no, don't do this. They said like, you have a degree, like a university degree. So no one is coming here to teach these guys. So we expect teachers to cover as much as they can. So they told me I have to teach chemistry and also the mathematics. And then at the same time that I was doing my master's degree, my friend was in the United States doing his PhD in chemistry. And then at that time, like he was telling me what's going on like here. And I was just comparing with what I'm doing here with all the, sanction as on all of that you don't have like the materials, like chemical materials that you want to do, like set up your research and all of that. And then that motivated me. Like I said, oh, that's like a heaven. Like you have the like that. We have an instrument called like NMR. So you find like how many protons like or carbons a molecule has and how they are connected. So that instrument, like they had 7 of them, that university, and we had 1. And when we gave them our sample, it took them like 10 days to get back the result. But for them, it was like, they said we set up the reactions and then we do it ourselves. Like we work actually with the tool, like that equipment ourselves because they trained us, and we have 7 of them. I said, oh my God, like I want that. So yeah, the amount of like things that's like related to the research, and that just motivated me. I said, I have to go. Like I don't want to go to any other countries. I just want to go to the US for doing research. That was the motivation.
What did those early years feel like?
Yeah, the first few weeks, I would say it was really tough for me because I was a teacher I'm teaching chemistry in another language, which is not my first language. And I started to learn it like in 3 years. When I was like 28, I
Oh,
started to
wow.
practice English and learn it. So it was tough. And, yeah, we have English in the high school and, below, those years, but those are not, teaching you to speak fluently and write fluently. It's just you take the Spanish course in the US and
Yep.
yeah. So
Yep.
it's like that. The feeling is like that. So, and then when I went to my classes in the, as a teaching assistant, I could notice it from the eyes of the students at University of Florida that they do not understand what I'm telling them, because I'm a teacher, and then with their eyes, like, and their reaction, I can feel it that
Mm-hmm.
and that I'm not doing a great job. So I was feeling that, and it was really tough. And I was telling my wife, like, just just take the stuff that we need out of our suitcase. We might go back. We just take enough stuff that we can survive, so we don't have to repack everything. There was one person assigned to me, like, giving me feedback, and I was just practicing those, and also like watching a lot of YouTube videos on how to, like, teach this course. I knew the science. I knew how to explain it in Farsi, but the barrier of like English was not helping me, like, to like teach them like how to approach this, like, this problem or this concept in chemistry. And that was just a tough time.
Why chemistry? Because candidly, chemistry has been my worst subject my entire life. So why chemistry?
I have heard that sentence a lot. There have been many things that I have been bad at, and one of them was chemistry. And I think being bad at something is actually good, because you know what's the worst, like how people think about chemistry when they do not understand it. So I have been there. I have been the worst. So then, but there's a then here. So the then is, but I was passionate about it. Like, I was bad at it, but I loved it. But what happened that I got a little bit of that confidence was when I saw one of my professors, like, his name was Hossein Aghabozorg. And when we when we had a lecture, like a course, it was an inorganic chemistry course. It was, I think, in my fourth semester of the bachelor degree. Then that moment, I think, was when everything changed for me, and I got that confidence, and and then I said, like, I want to be like him. And yeah, and then yeah, he was very successful, very smart, and like he had 10 books in chemistry, and national wide, like in all the universities in Iran, they were teaching those like books. And even once I told him, like, I'm happy that you are not a doctor. If you were a doctor, then I couldn't have like a role model for myself.
I love what you said, that I was bad at it, but I loved it, because I think there's either pressure to find what you're good at and go do that. And a lot of people don't really stop to consider, just because I'm not good at something doesn't mean I can't be good at it. There's just different entry levels of being in a career. You can learn the skills. That's why we have education. That's why we have mentors. That's why we have trainings.
Yeah,
So I
that's
love that.
exactly where, like, how I envisioned, like, anything. Now, let's, like, the way that I'm thinking of it is like a big bucket. The buckets that I have is smaller than someone that has the talent to fill that. So the difference is, like, I can feel it. I might have to work harder because my small buckets to fill that big bucket is smaller relative to the person who has that talent. So I can eventually do it, but it might take more time and practice. but I can do it. That was my mindset of like having, thinking this way about like getting to the place that I want to.
After you were at the University of Florida, you joined Intel in, I think, the summer of 2020. What about the tech industry resonated with you, especially as a chemistry researcher and scientist?
So Intel coming to our campus for doing like a recruiting event or something like that every year. And I didn't know that this is happening. A friend of mine told me like Intel has like a recruiting event for Department of like, Chemistry. And I remember like I was telling him like I don't know how like chemistry applies to like tech, and they are gonna hire like computer science and things like that. No chemistry, I think, is involved. But then when I went to that event, I noticed like how much of the chemistry, physics, electronics, and all of that applies to creating a chip. Yeah, I didn't know that. Even right now, like people asking me, like, how come chemistry like applies to like a tech company like Intel or every company that creates a chip? But there are many, many steps that like they have chemistry, they have physics, electronics, even like in the manufacturing side, like the way that they create these chips, the computer science is not involved in the process of like actually creating that chip. The manufacturing is different than the design and the application of that.
I would have never thought that.
Yeah. So it's like so the chip is like you are creating a building like layer by layer, and each layer involves many teams, and those teams are created from people with different discipline in chemistry and physics, applied physics, uh, electronic, and I would say material science. These kind of disciplines that you know um, can work together to create those layers. So once they presented what they are doing, and I was like, my jaw was like dropping, like what they are doing, like, and then I passed my resume, and they called me the other day, like a day after, and then I went to that interview on site, like with them, and then a week after I went to the on site. I flew from Florida to here, and then had a lot of interviews. Maybe I would say like 13 or 14 back to back, like 30-minute interview on
In like one day
one
or
day. Yes.
wow.
Yeah.
That's exhausting.
It is. So it was a lot of meetings back to back. And then once that was completed, then they offered me the job after like I would say like 2 weeks after that, I got the offer. And to me, that was like I know like for me, like Intel is like an iconic company, an American iconic company, and even the founder of Intel is also got his PhD in chemistry. So it's yes, so it's like yeah.
So you're at Intel and you've been there for 5 years, and now you're told you're being laid off from a company that had such stature and such reverence in your mind. Can you walk us through that? What was that like?
So when I got the news, so it was in the morning of July 10th, 2025. So my manager scheduled a meeting in the middle of the day. And then that was, as soon as that happened, I thought something is going to happen.
Something's up.
Yeah. And then, so I went to that meeting, and then he told me, your role got impacted, and yeah, you are laid off. So that moment was like, yeah, tough. So as I posted on my LinkedIn post, my heart rate dropped significantly to the level that I have in sleep. And yeah,
Which is fascinating to me because it's not the way I thought most people would think their heart rate would go up. And I also think it's fascinating that did you know, were you watching your heart rate at the time or
No.
did you notice after?
No, after that, like a day or two, I just had nothing to do. I was checking going to my app, trying to say, okay, I have to go for a run today. And then I was checking my heart rate and like day before and after. And then I noticed that drop. And then I said, okay, that's interesting. I didn't know. I thought maybe my heart rate should spike and go up, but it didn't. So yeah, that day that happened. I think that day I was like a little bit like worried about everything. And then the night I just, passed it. And then the next morning where like it was the hit. So the next morning, then I woke up and I said, okay, I don't have anything to do. Like I don't have the meetings. I don't have anything that I need to do. And I was just crying. So yeah, it was to me like, it was like, okay, I have done everything that I could. And now I am like a let go. And it was not what I expected. I thought maybe if there are a few people have to, go, then yeah, maybe somewhere there, but not if one person wants to go, and that would be me. So then um that the night after, like a day after, when I had to go to sleep, then I saw a dream that someone is taking my laptop from me, and I have an unsaved project. And then I like just woke up like in the middle of the night, and then I remember like I installed the Uber app, or like Uber driver.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I started to like watch videos on like how much I can make. And then it was just like in the middle of the night, like you are nervous and you like my heart rate definitely were going up this time. And then I was shaking, and then I was just doing that. Like, and then the next day I was telling my wife again, like, and she was laughing and say, no, take it easy. Like, you are not going to go, doing Uber driver thing. So you are going to find a job. And then I told her like I wrote a book on how to book and like how to be a productive person like at work. And now I'm getting laid off, so no one is gonna buy my book. No one is gonna read it because they are gonna say, if you could do something, you could do it for yourself first." And then a few days later, I was like, the way I like calm myself down was like honestly, I think the best thing that everyone can do, like including myself, I always do it when things like this happen. I write. Like I take a piece of paper, I go to a place that I've never been, I go to a new, you know, coffee shop, sit there and write what I'm gonna miss about my job and what I'm gonna gain from it. I just make a chart and then just, think about it. And then I noticed like it's not even that bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like, so that was like how I stayed focused, and then I try to calm myself down and think about like other things that I can do.
I think it's normal, whether it's an hour or a day or a week later, to have that almost, I call it hitting the wall of, what am I going to do now? I need to do something. I need to have a paycheck. I need to have something coming into a bank account. And so what do? I'm just going to hustle. I'm going to find one odd job or 5 odd jobs. I don't have the Uber app. I did the DoorDash app. But there's actually in my area a wait list. So then it was this emotional roller coaster of, okay, I'll DoorDash. And I sign up and it was like, thanks, we'll contact you when there's space. And I was like, I can't even DoorDash. Are you kidding me? So, and I want to touch on your LinkedIn post just really quickly because, and you even did it here, you're very vulnerable in it, which I think so many people going through a layoff right now, we say it on this podcast all the time. You see the really polished updates, the I'm so proud of my time and I'm going to miss these people. And I don't doubt any of that. But losing your job, you're going through the 5 stages of grief. And so there is anger, there is sadness, there's denial. Why did you include some of those sentiments in your posts? And why are you so open about it now?
I would say, like, for me, the way I'm thinking of it, it makes me stronger for myself. Because I say, okay, this is happening. Yeah, this happened. And not just that, I got many, many direct messages on LinkedIn that they were telling me that the same thing happened to them. And the way that they see that I am like open to that makes them feel that they are not alone and just gives them the motivation to keep going and continue. So I would say it's just sometimes people need to hear it from another people, like another person that, that they are going through the same thing and they are not alone. And I wish I had someone to tell me in that moment that like how they handle it, or this also happened to them. That even seeing that one person is like me, it's gonna help me to be, to make it to be a little bit stronger than the way that I am. Yeah.
Your story has a bit of a twist because you were laid off and then a week later you were rehired. So what happened?
So yeah, I got laid off and got rehired by Intel for another position. And the way that happened was like at the end of my meeting with my manager, then he told me from the upper management, they have some openings in other department and they want you to apply for that position. And I didn't know that's going to happen. Like, I didn't know that is possible. And then they referred me to that hiring manager. And then I had an interview with that person. And 5 days later, I got the email about getting that offer for the position.
What were the emotions that you were going through? Because I have to imagine it was a roller coaster, because on the one hand, you're laid off and like you said, you're looking at Uber driver apps and wondering how you're going to support the family. And on the other hand, you are going through a bit of this interview process and there's this, well, maybe there's something else out there. What was that emotional process like?
I had my resume ready because I have a system that I even explained it in my book that I will explain it later. And using that system helped me like to create my resume even like before going through this, because I knew if this is going to happen, I don't have the energy to and the focus to write my resume. So my resume was ready, and then I started creating an Excel sheet, and I made 3 parts. So the top part was all the jobs and companies that I can apply, and they are in the semiconductor space, the way that I have been working the past 5 years. And also I had a second part where I had some companies that are not the semiconductor companies. Maybe it's a pharma or chemical company, but it's still, I'm relevant to it. Maybe it's like academia or anything, it goes to that. And the third one was like different approach. Like, let's say you are not able to get any job. What is your third option? Like Uber driver, do you want to start a business, anything? So then I started from the top. So I said, I'm going to work on this for a few months on the top part. And then if I couldn't get anything, then I'm going to move to the second and the third. And then I went through my LinkedIn profile and try to find someone who is already in that company. So I was mostly trying to find someone who has been at Intel before, so I could open a conversation, or someone who has been at the University of Florida before. That was my 2 things that I could start the conversation. And then just, messaging them very short saying, this is me, and then I want to apply for this job. So I was putting the job ID, because every job has like a job ID. And then I said, can you refer me for this position? I told like my neighbors, the neighbors that are around me, I told them I got laid off. And then if you want to have barbecue again with me, you have to find a job for me. So so yeah. So one of them said, yeah, I actually have a cousin working in this company that is in the semiconductor space. So yeah, so that's how I got the referrals. Then I will write my resume. So I had like a resume that have many bullet points, but I don't know which one I have to make it like bold, like to be matched with that. Then I'm gonna use AI to tell me which one of these bullet points that I have worked and I have measurable results for it is a better match with this job description. Because if you don't have that, everyone can claim anything. But if you have a measurable result, then you are gonna bulletproof yourself. And then I was doing that, made my resume, send it, and then I applied for that, right? So I applied for that job through the referral. And then I gave the job description and my resume to AI, said, write 2 to 3 sentences based on the job description and my resume to the hiring manager. Only 2 to 3, not more, because they are busy. They are not going to read the emails. So I gave it to that person who referred me saying, can you please email the hiring manager? So this is the text, this is the subject of the email, and this is my resume. Can you email them and attach my resume and just put another word? I know you referred me, but just put another word. So that would just make everything like easy, so they are able to do it. If I ask them, can you email the hiring manager? They are probably not going to do it because they don't know what to write. They don't know you. They don't know how to promote you. But I know me, I know the job, I know all of that, and then I can help them to make the process easier.
When you said you had your resume ready to go, was that something, do you work on it monthly? Were you updating it monthly? Was it just, how does that process look to you, even when you do have a job, so that others can take those tips and say, yes, I'm just as ready?
I have an Excel sheet that I do not write like the whole bullet point. And no one it's going to update their resume daily or even monthly, if not like yearly. No one has the time, because you just say, I'm feeling comfortable. I don't think I'm going to get laid off. And when it hits you, you do not recall what you did a year or 2 years or 3 years or 5 years before. You do not know what's going on. But what I was doing that was like at the end of each day, I take a moment and say what I have accomplished today that I can measure, like something that is measurable or something that is, I have improved something. I spend this much of time doing that, and that saved this many hours from our team. So maybe I wrote a code that saved 5 hours of the engineering time. So what I was doing, I was writing all of these little things that can potentially in the future turn into a nice bullet point. So I was like writing those down, and then just in the next column was like writing resume. So then if I just filter the word resume, I have all of those, and all I can do, I can just copy paste these into like any AI that you're using and tell, all right, these are everything that I have done in the past 5 years. Tell me and this is the job description, what are the skills that are match between what I have accomplished and what this job description. And I've seen people like talking about, you have to trick the application tracking system and use the word that is gonna just copy paste the job description and make it like a font 1 and then make it white, and then
I've heard that trick. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Just make a nice, being clear, so the hiring manager knows what you did and it's related to that job. You did something that is related. And for a few of those bullet points, you have a measurable results. How much you improved something, how much time you saved, how much money you saved, how many people all those numbers are going to bulletproof you as the, doer, as the person who have done that.
So you almost, if I'm understanding it, you don't necessarily keep your resume in the traditional sense of it being a Word doc or a document of some sort. You more have this log, this ongoing log of what you've accomplished every day. And then when the time comes, rather than brushing off a Word doc, you're just going through that log and saying, okay, these are the ones that I had already called out, whether it was a month ago or a year ago, as something that could be good for the resume. And then using AI to help build that resume in real time.
Exactly. So that file is like a live document for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I update that daily. And I have done that when I joined Intel, past 5 years, I have done that. Whoever is working, like listening to this podcast, like if starting today, if you are like collecting these logs like daily, then over time you are going to be future proofing yourself in terms of like anything that happens to you. No one is going to update their resume daily or even monthly or year.
How much time were you spending each day? Because I can see where some people might say, oh, updating daily, but was it just 5-10 minutes? Was it 30 minutes?
So my book is called Your Daily Team. So maybe they change it in the future. Like if I go to a publisher, I'm in the process of publishing that. So, but the name for now is Your Daily Team. To me, every day is like a game day. So it's like me, I am a player, I am a coach, and I'm an analyst. So I have to spend some time during the day to be the player, some time to be the analyst, and some time to be the coach. But the proportion of these has to be in a harmony. So it has to be, to me, the way that I envision this is like 80% of my time has to go to the player, 10% analyst, 10% the coach. And the player is the person who does the job, the coach you reflect, and the analyst you reflect, and the coach you set the goal and all of that. So to me, the way I design my day is like I start as a player. So I already know what I need to do that day. And at the end of the day, for about 30 minutes, I am in my analyst mode. And then after that, I have another 30 minutes being in the coach mode. And I have a very simple system. I have only a few things that my setup is not like a flashy website or flashy app that I use. No, I'm using Excel file. So I have two tabs in an Excel file, and I have a calendar, and also I have a timer. So during that analyst mode, that analyst session that I have every day, then I'm going to think about everything that has happened to me, assuming me as analyst is someone watching me and critiquing what I have done. But I'm nice to myself. I'm not crazy. So, so I'm saying, okay, let's say you have watched me, the player, working today. What happened? What's the insight that you can help with, the player? What feedback you can give yourself? What distracted you? It was your phone? Can you put your phone away? Can you turn it off? Can you, put it in another room? So yeah, that was the analyst session that I have every day that I do that.
I want to talk about your book because you've mentioned it a few times, and you had shared with me, so keep me honest, that you're in the process of publishing it, but you received, is it true, over 120 rejections?
I did.
That has to be an emotional whiplash. Can you walk us through that? Because if I was rejected for anything 120 times, I think I'd just be like, you know what? This is a sign. This is not for me. So what has that been like, and what has kept you going?
To get my book published, I just need one yes. Not all, like I don't need 120 yeses. So I need only one. That's something that always I think maybe the next person will love it. And also I believe in what I am like sharing in that book. And it that I believe it's gonna help others. And that belief in like that this system and the system that I just described will change the way that people think about working. And at the end of the day or year, they are not going to say what I did today, what I accomplished. So the way that I describe it through my book and that mental model that I have, I think that just kept me going. I said, this is going to help at least one person. So if you believe that this is going to change one person's life and you need only one yes, then just keep going. And also, I have a YouTube channel which is not in English, it's in Persian. And I have shared a couple of things that I have explained in this book with my audience, and it has resonated with them. So I've done that test drive, and I know people loved it. And I said, okay, I have to just do something about it. I have to, document this, like everything that I have documented. I love documenting and stuff. And I think writing a book is like you just leave a portion of your life, even if when you are gone. So to me, like the way I'm thinking of it, like I want to have something living whenever, like even if I'm not around. I want that message to be here and stay here. And I'm pretty sure one person is going to find it useful.
As you look back over your life, what values, what beliefs, what habits do you see as the most essential to not just surviving, whether it's a layoff or a move to America or even a move across country, but actually thriving in that middle and in those changes?
I would say one of them is being patient. I'm a very patient person. Like your time comes. So that was like, I think one of the things that I even like remind myself, like when this layoff happened, and I said like, just be patient. And it's very difficult to act patiently than just saying it. Saying it is easy, but it's really difficult to act.
Yes.
That's one of the things. The other thing is like, then this has happened like multiple times during my life. I'm not giving up. So I'm like that person. So if something happens, I do not like, I don't make like a bad emotion attached to it. I try to like just say that that happened, just accept it, grieve about it, like, and just move on. That resilience, like that's why I'm here now. When I started as a teacher, I never thought that I would be an engineer at Intel, right? So back then, 20 years ago, if someone was tapping on my shoulder saying, oh, you will be an engineer at Intel, I never thought that's going to happen. But what I love doing, and I think that's what keeps me up, is like wherever I go, like any trajectory that I take to my life and career, I always find something that I'm passionate about. Like I always find something, even if it's the most boring job that I have to do, I'm going to find something that is interesting to do. You can find something that is interesting in any job. I believe that. And I always like, keep myself passionate about those little things that I love to do.
That resonates so much because I don't think there's any job out there, as much as social media or anywhere else may tell you, go find that job that you love. Every job has something that you don't like about it. Now, it shouldn't be 90% of your job that you don't like and 10% you do. But we're always going to have a project that comes up or a task we have to do, a report we have to write. And it's always going to be that, oh, I have to go do that again. And if you don't know how to work through that and you don't know how to keep the optimism, I think that is where it can really bring you down and really start to affect your outlook and your mental health and your performance. And having that realistic view of Okay, maybe I'm in this window. What can I find that I like here? What can I find about this that is interesting? I love that. And I think that's so useful for anyone at any point in their career. We are at the lightning round section. I think as our audience knows, I don't share these in advance. I promise there's nothing controversial, but I have some lightning round questions for you. So are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Question 1. What is your favorite day of the week?
Definitely not Monday. I would say Fridays. As I wrap up and I have to, project what I'm going to do next week. And, it's like, okay, I need to do this turn off. I can turn off everything and just enjoy my life for 2 days. I think that's why I love Fridays.
Fridays are a popular answer.
Yeah.
If you couldn't do your current career, what would you be doing?
YouTuber. I like to be a YouTuber, and I like to coach people to work better, more efficiently.
I feel like you're doing that. You're on that path.
Yes. I started pretty late. I started 5 months ago doing that. I know it's late, but again, even if I'm gonna change one person's life with any suggestion, I'm all for that.
You can only keep one app on your cell phone. Which app survives?
One app. Gosh. For sure, Google Map. I can't live without it. I'm gonna because back then, like the thing is, like back then in Iran, the city that I was living in, even in Tehran, like the name of the streets don't change. No. It's a street from the south part of the city goes all the way to the north part, and it has just one name. So everyone knows that that's one name. So it doesn't change in any intersection. But here it does change very quickly.
Yep.
So that's one of the things that made me confused when I came to US. And the other thing is, like, especially in Florida, we don't have any mountain or anything. So I couldn't figure out like where to go. But back then in Tehran, we have those mountains, and I could just see, okay, this is the north, so I know where to go. But when we came here, then I just lost everything. So yeah, I would say Google Map. I'm going to keep that.
I am also in that situation living in Colorado that I know the mountains are on the west. As a former teacher, e-learning or in-person classes?
I would say a combination of both, but if I have to choose one, I would say in person.
iPhone or Android?
Oh, I recently switched from iPhone to Android, but there is one downside, like with Android, my friends, in the group chats, it has that issue. Blue bubble, green bubble.
I was going to ask the minute you said Android if your group chat friends were on you about no blue text.
I'm going to change my friends for it. So I'm going to say you guys are so either going to buy an Android or just think twice about our friendship.
What is your hack for surviving long meetings?
It really depends on the meeting. So if I feel that I do not add any value to that meeting, I just kindly just drop, and I just write NTD, need to drop.
NTD, need to drop.
If it's boring and it's something that I do not add any value, and I can just read the meeting minutes after it and know and understand what's happening, yeah, that's what I do. But it definitely, like in the beginning of my career, I couldn't do that. Like over time, that when I got that confidence, I could do it, but not in the beginning for sure.
And you hit what I was thinking when you said that answer of, I feel I've only had that confidence in the last few years. Early in my career, I sat through so many meetings that I didn't need to be in, but I felt I had to be there, or I had to show my face, or my name had to be on the participant list. And it's only been the last probably 2 to 3 years that I've said, you know what, this isn't for me, or I've gotten all I can out of it, or you've gotten all you can out of me. let's just save everyone. I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
My last question, what is one bucket list item that you want to fulfill?
Publishing my book.
You're on your way. I feel like it's so close.
It is close. Not just not publishing for the sake of publishing, for just saying, oh, I have a book. No, I want my book to be read by people. Be read. Yeah, that's what I envision. Even if I have to do it for free, I'm open to even buy it for someone if someone reads it. But just reading that and I think that just makes it enough like momentum for them. I'm pretty sure that when they start reading it, they are gonna just turn pages after pages.
Well, as we wrap up, where can folks find you?
Okay, so I have a YouTube channel that I started like 5 months ago. So it's youtube.com/@EFEREYDUNI. So that's my YouTube channel. And I have an Instagram account. When I started, it was in English, and then I switched to Persian. Now I switched to the English, and I'm posting like that. So it's instagram.com/Ehsan, EHSAN explains. But you might also find my Ehsan Explains YouTube, but that one is in Persian.
Okay.
So don't follow that, so you are not going to understand what I'm saying. And yeah, just one last word that I have for like the people who like may probably got laid off. Just stay focused. Like give yourself the permission to grieve and look at the past and things that has happened to you. Maybe 10, 15 years. Think of like the moments that you probably have been in the same situation and you passed it. And that's why you are here.
I think it's great advice. What's the saying? You've already survived your hardest days.
Yes.
So you can probably get through whatever you're facing right now.
Yep.
Well, Ehsan, thank you again for coming on. It's been a joy to talk to you, and I know we'll talk soon.
Yes, definitely. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to The Middle. If today's story resonated with you, drop a subscribe, share the episode, and let's keep these conversations going. Until next time, remember, your story isn't over. You're just in the middle.